As the 14th Dalai Lama approaches his 90th birthday, a spiritual and geopolitical storm is brewing in the Himalayas. In a move that has reignited global attention and sharpened tensions with Beijing, the Tibetan spiritual leader has formally announced that the process to select his successor will begin soon, and that China will have no role in it. This declaration, made via pre-recorded message during a major religious gathering in India's Dharamshala, is more than a spiritual milestone. It is a bold assertion of Tibetan autonomy, a rejection of Chinese interference, and a reaffirmation of the Dalai Lama's enduring influence in the face of authoritarian pressure. The 14th Dalai Lama has upended tradition by declaring that his reincarnation will be chosen while he is still alive, and that the Garden Phodrang Trust, a non-profit he established in 2011, will have sole authority over the process. He also stated that his successor could be born outside China, of any gender, and that no government, especially China, has the right to interfere. Born as Lamo Dondup in 1935 in what is now China's Qinghai province, the 14th Dalai Lama was recognized as the reincarnation of his predecessor at the age of 2. He assumed full political power in 1950, just as Chinese forces were tightening their grip on Tibet. By 1959, following a failed uprising against Chinese rule, he fled to India, where he established the Tibetan government in exile in Dharamshala. Since then, the Dalai Lama has become a global icon of non-violence, winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989 and advocating for the middle way approach, seeking genuine autonomy for Tibet within China rather than full independence. Now, the Tibetan Buddhism holds that the Dalai Lama is the reincarnation of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. Traditionally, after the death of a Dalai Lama, senior monks search for signs and visions to identify the child who embodies his reincarnate soul. This process can take years and has always been deeply spiritual. Beijing, unsurprisingly, has reacted with fury.
形成了严密的宗教仪轨和历史定制，达赖、班禅等大活佛转世灵童，需经评撤迁认定，中央政府批准。14世达赖本人就是在13世达赖喇嘛圆寂之后，严格按照宗教仪轨和历史定制寻访，由当时的国民政府颁令特准免于经评撤迁继任的。
China has even codified this into law. Since 2007, all reincarnations of Tibetan living Buddhas must be approved by the Communist Party. The goal is clear: to install a compliant, state-sanctioned Dalai Lama who will legitimize Chinese rule over Tibet and neutralize the exile movement. And this isn't hypothetical. In 1995, when the Dalai Lama recognized a 6-year-old boy as the 11th Panchen Lama, the second highest figure in the Tibetan Buddhism, Chinese authorities abducted the child and installed their own candidate. The original boy has not been seen since. Now, the succession issue is no longer just a Tibetan concern. It's a geopolitical flashpoint. The United States has passed legislation, including the Tibetan Policy and Support Act of 2020, affirming that only Tibetan Buddhists have the right to determine their spiritual leaders. India, which hosts the Dalai Lama and over 1 lakh Tibetan refugees, walks a diplomatic tightrope between supporting Tibetan autonomy and managing its complex relationship with China. If China proceeds with appointing its own Dalai Lama, the world could witness 2 rival Dalai Lamas, one chosen by Beijing, the other by the Tibetan exile community. Such a scenario would deepen the divide and potentially fracture Tibetan Buddhism itself. The Dalai Lama has not yet revealed the exact framework for selecting a successor, but he has promised that it will follow Tibetan Buddhist tradition and be free from political interference.